MyMac Podcast 937. Recommended refurb.
And welcome everyone to the MyMac.com podcast. Now, should you buy an Apple refurbished Mac? Should you accept Apple's offer for trade-ins on your own Macs? I guess it kind of depends on just how screwed over you feel like being at any given time. That's something we're going to talk about later. But first, we have lots of other completely ridiculous things to talk about. Isn't that right, Gaz?
Absolutely. We always have very. Okay, so for those of you who aren't watching on the video, which is probably 99.999999999 recurring percent, Guy is happy because the StreamYard video process that he uses, very often when he swaps back from a single head to a double head, i.e. he and I, basically StreamYard seems to bounce because he's pressing the wrong key combination. He likes to blame StreamYard, but it's not. It's Guy. Anyway, I said to him before we started, why don't you practice? And it worked perfectly. And he said, yes, but watching when we go live, it'll bounce. And he was really happy and shouting, yes, yes, yes. All because the video, which the vast
no one's going to ever watch,
didn't bounce. I mean, get a life, Guy.
I refuse. I absolutely refuse to get a life. How dare you? I have much better things to do than to have an interesting life.
What's really odd about your trading? Are you talking about the fact that, because I missed this out of one of my snippets, that Apple have now changed the number of items that they're giving in for refurb or taking in for refurb? There was a story and I thought, it's not interesting. I left it and now I can't find it because I'd put it back in because it could be quite useful, because I didn't know you were going to be talking about refurbs.
We'll talk about that when we
okay.
Honestly, that story that you cannot find
it
was probably the impetus for our center topic this week.
Okay. Well, our center section, which we don't have anymore.
Which we don't really have anymore. But even though how long has it been since when we went from 3 sections to 2 sections? Actually, to 1 section.
Are you expecting me to remember?
No.
I can't even remember.
It was a long time ago.
I can't even remember my own name at times.
It's Maz with a Z.
Cars.
Gas. Well, and for our American listeners, happy Memorial Day. We are recording this on Monday, Memorial Day here in the United States, because that's the day that we recorded it on.
Well, this is just down as the spring bank holiday here in.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, if you're retired, then I guess every day is a holiday.
I must admit, I didn't know there was a bank holiday coming up. And a bank holiday in the UK means everybody gets a day off on the Monday, generally.
Right.
And I didn't know there was one coming up because I'm not at work. I've now upset another load of people who really don't want to know that I'm retired.
People.
Yeah.
Is that even a word? If you're still working, can't you just say you're still working rather than unretired or not retired? I don't know.
No, because if you go into retirement and then you start working again, you become unretired, don't you? Although you're still retired because you're still probably getting retirement money. Look, this is
I'm really
hole
tired
that we
of this
really didn't want to go. Yeah, I'm really tired of this conversation. So this week I haven't spent much time on my Mac. I've been out on the bike, and actually my dear lady wife we went out for a 20-mile bike ride with her on the electric bike, which she still goes zooming past me up those hills. And guess what? That
and
is
laughs.
no
and
fun.
Laughs as she does it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've been busy, but I went shooting on Saturday. Bang bang.
Yeah, actually, that's why we didn't record on
Correct.
Saturday.
So went 12-ball shooting. I came second out of 5.
And how many clay pigeons had to give their life so that you could have a little bit of fun?
We had those poor clay pigeons or UFOs, as
pigeons.
my daughter likes to call them. Yeah, some of them were going along the ground as well. They were like rabbits, but they were safe. They were the safest. They got away with much more than the pigeons did, I got to say. And I do own an air rifle, so we all decided to come back and have some target practice when we come back through the scope as well. So it was good, nice. Good day, good fun. Yeah, we've just been busy doing this, that, and the other. It's, when you're retired, you just do lots of things. Spent a lot of time in the garden, got to say. Like, do you want me to say I'm retired again, just to upset you even more?
No, I'm kind of at that level right now.
That level being just above his eye line. And I did say that, not eye line. Yeah,
not eyes line, which makes no sense at all.
Makes no sense at all, does it?
So you can't say it like that.
No, so you are now hitting the true meaning of eye line. Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. Anyway,
and if I was on a plane, it would be eyeliner. No, that doesn't make. Never mind.
Weirdo.
I am a weirdo. Saturday, just the normal stuff. Went grocery shopping. Yay. Now Sunday, Tracy and I. Now we've been talking for a while. It's like, all this stuff that.
Do you know? I'm glad you've been talking for a while. As you're married to her, that's useful.
For 30 plus years. Yeah, it is useful.
Yeah.
It's, I come home from work and I'm like, who the hell is that person in my house? Now that'll be in 20 years. 20 years from now, I'll be saying that. And she'll be going, I'm your wife, you friggin' idiot. But we've been saying that, the stuff that we've been saying what we're going to do or talking about doing and then not doing, that we should probably start doing. So in the spirit of that, something we haven't done since the kids were really, really little. Well, we went to the DC Zoo on Sunday. And it was like the first.
Sorry to interrupt you. Interrupt you. But I last week did actually go to the AC Zoo.
What is that?
AC/DC. He's shaking his head, folks.
Yeah.
And I'm not surprised.
Watch the video. You'll see these things. Watch the video. You'll find all these subtle things.
Sorry, guy. You went to the DC Zoo.
We went to the DC Zoo on Sunday, and it was like the first big outing and exercise that I've had, since all this began. And it was roughly, and I mean, really, it wasn't that far. According to our phones, it was about 6 miles up and down hills, but we were both exhausted by the time it was done. And part of the problem for both of us has been a lack of real exercise since the surgery. And the other problem, and this is something I didn't anticipate, and that was dealing with large crowds with monothalpic vision. I still got it. Rolling the dice. Ding, got it. And I was kind of, 7, come 11, bam. I was in kind of a constant state of anxiety because I didn't know where people were on my right side at any given time. And what made it worse, since all this happened, Tracy tries to keep on my left side so that I know where she is. And we kept forgetting that. So I would be like talking to her, but she was like on my right side, couldn't see her. And then I'd be like, is she still here? So there was like this, I was spent a lot of the day being very anxious because I don't want to, because here's the thing. For people who have never met me, I am a very large person. And if I bump into you, you know it. You know that you've been bumped into by this huge sack of flesh that's like and that can't stop on a dime. I have to think about stopping. It's like a train, it's like, okay, here comes a corner. I'm going to stop now. Slowly putting on the brakes. Here we go. All right. I've stopped successfully. But those are the things, I can't turn on a dime. And, all of this doesn't help either. So when I can't see what's going on that side, I try to be as cautious as I possibly can be so that I don't just like slam into people.
So here's a semi-serious, well, it is a serious question.
Sure.
Do you now find yourself when you're walking straight ahead that you're tilting your head slightly to the right so that it gives your left eye more of a centered vision of what's coming up, or does that not happen?
I honestly, I couldn't tell you. I don't know if I do
yeah,
that
you
or
might
not.
you might be doing it without realizing it.
Yeah. But one of the things when because we took the DC Metro up to that area, and and Tracy has been telling me for a while, says, well, you need to go online and see what type of tech is available for people with your particular problem. And I was kind of like, well, I've been thinking about that. I've been giving that a lot of thought, especially with, all of the talk of Apple's new AR, VR, whatever the hell it is that they say, quotation marks, they say Apple is going to release it at WWDC, even though they don't typically release new hardware at WWDC. But the way that I would develop something for someone with monotopic vision is to have like a pair of glasses, and you wouldn't have a separation across the nose bridge. It would be, the glasses would stick out just a little bit more, and you would have a camera on whichever side that you don't have a view. And then that camera view would be transmitted to about the center part of where the bridge of your nose is.
I was just thinking. That's just exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
But you would have to do a few other things. You would also have to have some way to adjust the size and focus of the camera so that it didn't confuse whichever eye it is that you still have. Because if you have two separate images and your one eye has to process both of them and they don't quite line up, that's going to be very, very confusing. And the other thing that I thought it would probably have to have is some way to adjust for someone who is nearsighted or farsighted, or whatever their vision is in the remaining eye, so that it remains in focus. And I thought that God, why wouldn't someone make something like that? And then I remembered, oh yeah, there's really not that many people who could afford something like that that has this particular issue. And I have actually looked online to see if anybody makes anything like that, and I've yet to find anything. So, dear listeners, if you know of something like that, or you have come across something like that, or someone knows something like that, please let me know. I would be really, really interested to see if it's anything like what I was just discussing.
Have you
been was a really super long first section.
Have you been in contact with any of the associations or charities for blind people or semi-blind people, or even an ophthalmic? Is that it?
Ooh, yeah.
Ophthalmic,
probably.
Association.
That's probably really close. The thing is, most vision-related charities or organizations are dealing with people who either have limited sight in two eyes or no sight in two eyes. There's not that many that I've been able to find that deal with, sight in one eye and no sight in the other.
So you basically got to join. You basically got to join a pirate society, haven't you? That's what.
Yar, yar, pretty much. Hollywood a cracker. So, yeah. So that's kind of what I'm dealing with that.
Cool.
Yeah. But other than that, everything is groovy, cool. Still waiting for the results from my CT scan. Absolutely no anxiety related to that at all.
No news is good news, Guy.
Yeah. I like this. I like to keep telling you that too. Yeah, I'll just go with that.
Go with that. Right.
Well, everything is great until it isn't.
Okay. I'm going to jump straight into Gaz's snippets. Apple again approaching the 3 trillion market value Mark. It's just apparently this year their market value has soared 35%. Mind you, that doesn't tell you if they were there before that. Previously, it may have dropped by 35 to 40%. So anyway, they're building back up. And they again, Apple, have been accused of unfairly disciplining union supporters.
Okay.
The company has denied the claim. So we'll wait and see what happens on that one.
Was it union employees related to retail or something else?
You really want me to go into the Gazzy snippets? And you want me to go into it?
Go ahead.
Apple has not been shy about its. Apple has not been shy about its belief that Apple Store workers are better off by not unionizing. Most recently, the company held nationwide meetings within retail workers to discuss the risk of unionization. The New York Times, though, have spoken to multiple former Apple Store employees who allege they were fired for their role in unionization efforts. Oh, did they? We'll see about that. So,
yeah. And, the crazy thing is, before we go on, it's amazing that Apple and Apple managers of retail stores had meetings with their employees, and the employees denied having anything to do with something that Apple doesn't want them to do. So I'm glad it all worked out in the end.
Yes, a crack on. Guy, now I want you to guess this. There's going to be a question at the end of this one. Apple's iPhone market share has doubled in Colombia, right? Doubled,
the country.
Guy.
Country, Colombia.
The country, Colombia.
Okay.
Sorry. Yes.
Colombia's out
sorry.
there. Okay.
Yes. If I speak to anybody outside of the northern territories of the United States, they'd probably know I was talking about Colombia, the country. But yes, to define it. Okay. So it has doubled from what, Guy, do you think?
Percentage, or are we talking about numbers of iPhones?
Percentage.
I'm going to guess 20% to 40%.
Wow. No, it's gone from 3% to 6%, Guy.
Oh, okay.
Moving on. An EU appeal seeks to force Apple to pay the $14.3 billion tax clawback. We'll see how that goes. I think I might have another.
So is that still like the whole thing with Ireland?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Apple has struck a multi-billion-dollar deal with Broadcom for components made in the US. On Tuesday, a new multi-year, multi-billion-dollar agreement with Broadcom, a leading US technology and advanced manufacturing company. Yeah. Through this collaboration, Broadcom will develop 5G radio frequency components. There you go.
Yay.
But you know all about that.
Sure.
The Apple Design Award finalists have been announced ahead of WWDC 2023. I can go through them, or we can just leave it and move on to the next one.
Yeah, let's leave it and move on.
iPhone and Apple Watch can now replace.
We'll see who wins, and then we'll talk about them.
iPhone and Apple Watch can now be replaced. Oh, sorry. Let me start that again. iPhone and Apple Watch can now replace car keys in a few more types of cars, including the British sports car company Lotus. Always fancied a Lotus, actually. Also Mercedes. You wouldn't fit in one, I don't think.
No.
A little Lotus Elise.
No.
And also Mercedes-Benz.
I fit in those.
We think you'd fit in those, are ready to launch them. The only problem is, if you're out and about and somebody pinches your phone or your watch and they've seen you just get in and out of a car, locking it, unlocking it. Yeah. Mind you, they can pinch your keys as well. So,
well, I mean, if they pinch your phone but they don't know what your phone, if they pinch your watch.
Oh, no, you're right. You're right.
They don't know what your passcode is for the watch.
Okay. It's like a double security, isn't it there?
Yeah.
Apple has invited VR experts to WWDC 2023 as the company is expected to announce its new headset.
No, they might. I mean.
They might not. They might just be bringing these people along just to go, you thought it was going to be a VR headset. No.
We're just having them come in to talk about it. And the thing that cracks me up about all this VR, AR talk from Apple is these same experts are talking about, oh, it's going to cost about $3,000. It's like, yeah, that's going to fly with most, the most stringent Apple fanboy is going to sit there and go, wow, $3,000 really? To play the games that are in Apple Arcade.
This is the start of a long product,
painful, expensive journey
process. This is not going to be, and yes, the Irish tax thing, the 14.3 billion, which I mentioned earlier, it's going to the highest part of the court in the EU to have its final appeal sorted. So I have a feeling that Apple might lose that one. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, Ireland's not happy about it either. But
no,
let's
they're
not
not
go into that.
We won't. Samsung are challenging Apple in the European smartphone market.
So just now, they're just starting now with what you're saying. Okay. Way to go, Samsung.
It made me giggle as well. Apparently,
they're calling it the Samsung Zune. That's what they're going to call it.
Yeah. Apparently, Eddie Q was interviewed, and he says Apple only makes things consumers care about. So we'll see about that next week.
Good luck, Samsung. I hope you make a bunch of great phones.
Apple touts health data privacy in a new white paper, and clever the waiting room video. I haven't watched this. I saw it, and apparently this has also been, I think this is aimed in China as well, or it was made in China. I can't remember. I seem to pick that up, but I haven't watched the video. But yes, they are touting the privacy bit again, especially about health, which really makes sense, complete and utter sense, important. Doesn't it really?
Yeah.
Apple begins selling Ember's temperature-controlled travel mug, complete with Find My.
Okay. So not only can you adjust the temperature of your travel mug.
Well, I don't know that you can do that. I assume if it's temperature controlled, then presumably you can just ask it not to go as cold as quickly as all. There might be a battery in there, which means it can heat up. Yeah.
Or cool down.
You can find it when you've put it on the side and lost it. Mind you, do you know why, Guy, you would want a Find My?
Because it's probably a couple of $100 for that damn
$200.
Way to go.
5 cents.
Yeah, because, just having a regular ass travel mug that you pick up at Walmart or Target isn't good enough. No. You have to have a travel mug that you can adjust the temperature of. Well, I want my hot coffee to become cold coffee over the course of a few hours. And it's like, well, that's really easy. Just put it in an open cup, you idiot.
Well,
and if you lose it, then you want to be able to find it. Okay, got it. $200. Go buy your Apple VR headset for $3,000 and let me know how that worked out for you.
Let him go when he's off. And I did keep the story about Refurbed. Apple are now selling refurbished 2023 M2 Mac Mini models. So I did keep the story in my snippets.
I wasn't aware of that. I'll have to look at that.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Here's a question from a headline, which made me laugh. Will the iPhone 15 be more expensive? Dun, dun, dun.
Who will know? Wait, hold on. I know I got it here someplace. I know it's got to be here. There we go. Okay.
A Find My Apple Pencil feature could be on the way because it's been described in a new Apple patent, Guy.
Well, all you have to do is put a little holder on your $200 travel mug. And that way you can just use the Find My from that. Then you don't have to buy a $99 pencil.
Ted Lasso finale event was cancelled amid Hollywood's writers' strike and series end speculation. There you go. You see, you go on strike, writers, and they don't give you a party.
I love Ted Lasso. Have you been watching it this year?
I have. I've just got a little bit of a problem with the third series being just a little bit almost. Everything has a pendulum, Guy, and everything swings one side to the other. And it's just at the moment swinging on the side of PC a little too far. Just a little too far.
I really like the character arc that they've done with Nick, and I don't want to say anything beyond that.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
And because the next episode is probably the last one, I get a feeling I know what's going to happen, but I don't want to speculate about it here.
Yeah. I'm with you on that.
But watch Ted Lasso. If you don't watch Ted, it is some of the
if you've got Apple TV,
drama,
if you've got
comedy
Apple TV,
drama,
yeah. Watch it from.
Actually, you know what? Another show, and I think it's on Paramount Plus that I just got done watching. I don't know if they're going to do another season, and I didn't think I was going to like it. Was Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone?
Oh, right.
And it's been. I mean, there were parts of it I was just kind of like, really going there. All right, but for the most part, it was so much better than I thought it was going to be.
Right. Next item, Guy. The shares. The shares of Wearable Devices Limited have tripled after the Mudra Apple Watch band hits its pre-order stage. This company, the shares price tripled to $1.48. Right. Who's going to be buying this company up? They're biopotentials. They've got electric potentials. So this band can read, obviously, lots of electronic bios signals in your wrist. And I think, they use it for like ECG, but I think it can also be used for EMG, which is what is EMG?
Doesn't the watch do that already?
Yes, but I think this will be spreading out into other things as well, and perhaps with more accuracy. It's got surface nerve conductance, so I've got a feeling there might be other stuff on there which will be used. So I've got a feeling that this company might move towards Apple in the future if they come out with something, or Apple will just pinch a few of their engineers and pull them over.
Sherlock the hell out of them. What they need to do is infuse it with CBD oil, and that way everyone's happy.
Personally, looking at it, I think it's got like some electrodes on it, and really it's basically so your other half can give you an electric shock.
Electric shock. It's like, I don't like your opinion on something. Thank God I don't have one of those, because this show would end it much faster.
Hey, lady, send Guy an electric shock. OpenAI this week announced that its official ChatGPT app for the iPhone and the iPad is now available in more than 40 countries.
I thought you were going to say 40 colors. I don't know why.
Apple has now stopped
ChatGPT in purple. Great.
I think I kept calling it ChatGPT last week, so it's ChatGPT. Yes, yes. That's why I was pulling up the mistake that I'd made, Guy.
Okay.
Or it may have sounded like that because I was trying to say it too quickly. Apple stopped signing iOS. Will you let me finish?
I will. I'll shut up. Quiet, Farrago. You just be quiet.
Blaming the Farrago tool.
I am. Totally.
Apple has stopped. Apple has stopped signing iOS 16.4.1 to prevent downgrading. Apple's My Photo Stream service is shutting down in July 2023. If you're using the My Photo Stream, you're going to have to take a look at some of the processes you're going to need to make sure that you don't lose any pictures. Now, you won't lose any pictures, but they may not be where you want them to be. I've never used the My Photo Stream. I don't think. No. And I've checked on all of my devices and the option doesn't come up. So I think it was always restricted to 1,000 photos or something. May have tried it out, but then moved to iCloud photos. So, but just be aware. Just be aware, folks. Apparently, Apple's 50 million butterfly board keyboard lawsuit, gets the final approval, and the payouts will begin soon, guys. So if you had one, you'll be getting a $5 from someone,
and the lawyers will get all the rest.
Yeah,
because that's how it works.
And later on in the week, I had Apple shares rise to a near 52-week high. Just keeps going up. Yep. Just incredible. Apple, this was the other story related to your trade-ins, I think. Apple are to begin accepting trade-ins for 3 new Mac models on the day of the WWDC keynote.
Yeah, one of them being the Studio.
Cool.
Yep.
I'll leave that there because we're not. Is it next week? Next Monday?
Yeah, because today's the
next
29th,
Monday.
so it's going to be next.
Yeah, we're recording
Monday.
slightly late this weekend, folks. But it's a bank holiday, so you're not expecting to listen to the MyMac on a bank holiday, or are you?
Are you? Well, if you are, you are going to be gravely disappointed. I mean, beyond the disappointment that you'll feel after listening to the show anyway.
Our Apple Pay director in charge of Tap to Pay partnerships has departed the company, Guy.
So he's no longer a partner to the partnerships of Apple Pay's partnerships?
Correct. And that is the end of Gaz's Snippets.
Got a link?
No links for me
today.
this week. No link. It's No Link Monday.
No Link Monday. Wait, let me link to that. Oh, wait, no, you can't. You can't do that.
You can't
No,
do that.
it's No Link Monday.
No Link
All right,
Monday.
well, chances are this little section isn't going to last very long anyway. Talking about Apple's trade-ins and refurbs. Now, anyone who has bought a Mac online through apple.com, one of the questions they ask you is, do you have a Mac that you want to, or whatever device it is that you're trying to get? Do you have an Apple branded device that you want to have, get money toward to make your purchase? And quite frankly, the prices they give you is not great. They really don't offer much as compared to the original purchase price. And in some cases, Apple won't accept a used Mac as a trade-in at all. The part of that, I think, is going to change when WWDC goes around. If they were, if what they're saying is true, where, they're now going to accept, and why they wouldn't before, I have no idea, ones like the Mac Studio. Now, granted, you can't expect to get anywhere near the price of a new or refurbished Mac, no matter who or what you want to trade in. But Apple's offers are especially, I don't even know what that word is. I wrote that word and I don't know what it is. Egregious. That's the word I was trying to think of. They're especially egregious in how little it is. When I bought my M1 Mac Mini, Apple's offer on my 2017 27-inch iMac fully loaded was so bad that it was like $200. I think they offered me for it. I gave it away to a family member instead, rather than accept a $200 offer. That just seemed insulting. On the other hand, the refurbished prices for Apple's Mac computers are actually really, really good. And when you consider that they come with a full warranty and the option to add Apple Care for an additional period, means that you are protected from any problems that may arise. And considering that there's very little left in a Mac that can be repaired by you or most third-party repair shops, or actually from Apple themselves, that can be very, very comforting. Now, if you remember late last year, or maybe it was earlier this year, when my M1 Mac Mini kind of went kaput, and the trouble I had getting another one, because the one I had was custom with storage. The one that I got back, I don't believe is the same one that I sent to them, which wouldn't really surprise me, since the only thing inside of that box for the most part is just the logic board. Everything else has been pretty much just kind of crammed onto that thing.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to upgrade from an older Mac, especially if you're on an Intel Mac, before you jump into getting whatever the latest and greatest Macs there are out there, go on over to the Refurb store, and you'll find that there are some terrific examples of pretty much any Mac model that you may be looking for. I in doing some of the research for this, and it honestly didn't take that long, but I did go over to the Refurb store, and I gotta say, I am really, really super tempted by some of the M1 Mac Studios, because they're just so pretty. They really, really are. They're pretty.
Not performance.
No.
Not because it'll give you an advantage in doing
It won't.
some of the stuff.
That's the thing. It really won't.
Because they're pretty.
They're pretty. And more ports would probably be like the big advantage that I would have over what I have right now. Because for the kinds of stuff that I do and the kinds of stuff that most people do with their Macs, M1 Mac Mini, it's going to plow right through it. And you're not going to really see that big of a difference in performance between a fully maxed out M1 Mac Studio versus a reasonably priced Mac Mini. You're not going to see it unless you're doing, like incredible video renders and throwing all kinds of effects and all that other stuff on it. But for the most, if you're just doing like the regular stuff that most people do with computers, no difference at all. And I would highly recommend either an M1 or an M2 Mac Mini over a Studio, no matter how sexy they are. And they're so sexy. I really like them. And that's not to say that there aren't other offers in the Refurb stores as well, including phones, iPads.
Yep.
Pretty much anything Apple sells, there's going to be a pretty good refurbed member that you could choose instead. And remember that these computers and phones and tablets and earpods and everything else that you might be getting have been completely checked by someone from Apple. And these aren't used computers.
You could almost say, Guy, that they're almost better than the new one, because when you get into a manufacturing process, it'll go through the manufacturing process and straight into the box and out to you. There will be no checking as to whether the damn thing's working or something's gone wrong with it, because once they've gone through, they'll pull the one of 1,000 out. Yeah, that's right. But refurbed, other than not getting a brand spanking new box, that would have been fully checked before being sent out to you, so it's in full working order. So and as you were going to say, it's not that they are second hand, it's that they very often customers have gone, no, I didn't actually want that one, and they may well have destroyed the box, or because obviously being online, certainly over here in the UK, you've got a 14 or 28 day returns policy. I can't remember which it is.
Well, whatever.
So
it is.
they could open it up, put it on their hand if it's a watch, for example, and go, I really don't like that. I mean, more fool them for not checking it out in the first place. But if they live a long way away from anywhere that sells them, I get it. And if you're going to sell online, that's the risk you're going to take. Or it may be somebody realizes that they didn't want that Mac Mini with just 8 gig of RAM. They wanted 16 gig of RAM, and they send it back and order another one. So that's often the situation with these.
Ooh, excuse me. Yeah. So they're all Apple's refurbs are, and I would love to say that it's like, oh, it's the great secret to buying a Mac, but it really isn't, because pretty much everyone over the course of the last 20 years since the Apple's online store opened has said, if you don't mind having a computer that was already owned by one person, go to the Refurb store, because they're going to be just as good and all the things that Gaz just said. So would you agree with all that, Gaz?
I would actually, Guy. Yes, definitely.
So there's so much head nodding happening here.
Hit it. Gaz's tips.
Mostly.
Gaz's tips.
Mostly.
Gaz's tips.
It's time for
Gaz's tip.
Guy, when you're typing on your iOS device in Safari in particular, and when you type the dot at the end, so www. I've got a really cool website dot or period. Some people call it period. When you do that second dot or period at the end of the web address, if you just press and hold the period, various options, generally most used options, like over here in the UK, you'll get .com, .co.uk, .uk, and all the rest of it, will appear as a short selection for you to nip over to, so that you can then complete that website and then go to the appropriate website according to what the last section is. So, but what you got to do is just go, when you're typing it in, just press and hold when you come to that second or final dot before the .com, .co.uk, or whatever it is it may be. I have another one.
Ooh.
In Maps or Google Maps, or indeed on the OS, remember the OS Ordnance Survey over here, map that I use on the phone. If you double tap on the second tap, if you leave your finger on the screen, you can then slide up and down the screen to zoom in or out of the map. Useful for one-handed use, because sometimes you just need to double tap and go in. Yes, all right. Yes, careful. But remembering, you got to remember to leave your this is getting awful. You got to remember to leave. I wrote this as well. You got to remember, I didn't copy it or get Chat GPT to write it, but remembering to leave your finger on screen on the second tap. That's the hardest thing here. My trick is to slow down your double tap action. And it works a treat, doesn't it? I'm nodding my head. Quick, let's get out of this before I get into any more trouble.
That's what she said. Oh my God. I was fine. I was fine until you said one-handed use.
Gaz, you are absolutely right.
Can I say, Guy?
Yeah.
Actually, last week I did note that some of the your soundboard were a little bit quiet. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, it's still quiet. I'll have to look into
whether you
that.
can boost them up.
Well, the weird thing is, I'm still using the Rodecaster Pro, but I'm using it in conjunction with Rogue Amoeba's loopback program. And the crazy part is the way I've got this set up, and I'm sure it's something that I'm not doing correctly. The volume,
Shocker.
yeah, I know, shocker. The volume sliders seem to have absolutely no effect on what's being recorded. So I'll have to look in on that and see if I can figure out why.
Well, a little trick here, and I got this from Carl, is in where do you record? You record it differently though, don't
Hindenburg.
You could record it also in you don't use Audio Hijack, do you?
No, I could. Yeah, that's.
Well,
I mean,
you
that's
could
not a big
record.
deal.
You could record your Farrago on a separate line, so you actually would just record that separately. Then you could boost that in your recording. Anyway, we're going.
But I can boost it in post too.
Okay.
Because
well, you might
the
want to boost it in
volume
post
level
because I know that the volume level. Here's
was low.
some listener feedback. Was a little low last week.
Yeah, it was. But because I record on separate tracks for myself, and a track for Gaz and a track for Farrago.
So you should be able
Once
to do
I'm
that
done
anyway.
recording, I can artificially boost the Farrago track.
So it was
so I
quiet
just have
last
to
week, and
remember
it
to
was
do
your
that.
fault. Yeah,
Completely and totally my fault because I was only using one hand, Gaz. That was the problem. Right there.
You were doing tap and zooming on your, with your other hand.
Tap and zooming. That's me, Mr. Tap and Zoom. That is
just remember that
right.
double tap. You try that when you just try it though. Double tap, hold onto the screen on that second tap. It's really quite difficult. Your brain goes, no, got to lift my finger. Oh, it's getting worse, isn't it?
It is. I'm doing my absolute best
I know you
to not add to this
Anymore.
conversation anymore.
And I
All right.
I haven't even got any for pick's sake.
Well, I have some links though, Gaz, and it's the ones I always talk about. The Ukrainian Red Cross and Doctors Without Borders. Please go to our show notes, find them there, or just Google them. And they're both, regardless of what's going on in the Ukraine, they're both excellent organizations to donate to. So please, if you have any extra scratch, go and visit them. Now we have some feedback this week, Gaz.
We do.
And it should come as no surprise that South Carolina NC Greg. I don't know why it says SC Greg. NC Greg called in on our Skype number, which we will tell you what that is later. And he had a bone to pick with me, Gaz. He did. And I can't say I blame him. So I'm going to play this. And Greg, you are absolutely right. So here is Greg's comment.
Hey, guys. It's Greg from North Carolina.
Hi, Greg.
And after what Guy said in the last MyMac podcast, you had to have expected this at some point.
Yeah.
On December 8, 1980, it was that killed John Lennon.
Exactly.
Now,
go ahead.
I'll let you finish. No, you carry on.
I was going to say, I can't be sure. I may have had to edit that a little bit in post. I'm not sure what part of it I had to edit off the top of my head.
I'm not sure which bit you edited either.
Yeah. Okay.
And Greg's really not sure which bit you edited.
Oh, I'm sure Greg will know right away which part got changed. Thank you, Greg. All kidding aside, we always appreciate it when you call in. I got an email and a very, very generous donation from longtime MyMac alum Owen Rubin, and I hadn't heard from him in a while, and it's great that he wrote in. I'm going to go ahead and read what he put in here. He says, "Hey, Guy, I know it's been a long time, but I've been catching up on your podcasts on the way to work and basically heard what happened to you. Thank you. I'm very sorry. But very impressed by your ability to stay happy and joke about it, because it's like, what the hell else am I going to do, Owen? I don't know what else to do. I think Gaz puts in on a bit strong at times, but I really appreciate the way you handled it. He just had eye surgery for cataract on his left eye, and his right eye got an infection, so it is mostly closed and very blurry. Sorry to hear that. And I was complaining about how hard it is to drive. Especially when you can't see cars out the right side of your car. Wouldn't know anything about it. Then heard your podcast. I don't think I will complain about those eye problems anymore. You've just put them into perspective. Well, and it's just going to be a problem until it grows back. Okay, once the eye grows back, it'll be fine. Congrats on your son Peter's graduation. You all must be very proud. We are very, very, he did that all on his own. Just also wanted to let you...
I'm glad to hear it.
Well, I mean, all right. We'll go into this. When my son Peter was in high school, he was, and I can completely relate to this because I was the same way. He was not the best student that was out there. And when we were talking to him about college, we were like, well, we had just sent Guy, my older son, to college, full college, and it was very expensive. And he too had his share of problems, which I talked about at the time. And we didn't want to go through that again. So we suggested to Peter that he go to a community college first, and we'll see how much, he was able to handle that. And he did fine with it. But before we could make any decisions on whether or not he was going to go on to and I hate to say it like this, regular college, he ended up moving in with his girlfriend, Liza, who completely straightened his ass out. And she had a master's in education, and she was like, "You want to stay with me? You better get that degree." And it just came out of my mouth like a rap. So she was the one that really lit a fire on his ass to get him to, seriously take his education, and for which I am very, very grateful. So now he has graduated, and we'll see, how things go with that, and how he does with his future career plans. But it won't do anything but help. And I highly recommend it, even if you do the same thing that he did, which was go to, he went to University of Maryland's, what do they call it? University, I can't remember. It's their online college. And for people who are working full time, that can be like a godsend for them. It gives them a way to advance their education in such a way that they don't have to spend 4 years going into a regular college full time. And that can be like a real pain in the neck. So, but we're very, very proud. We're very proud of Peter and how much hard work he put in to get his degree. And I think I started talking about this because Owen Rubin wrote in.
Half an hour ago.
He also said, Owen, that is, also just wanted to let you know that I will be retiring at the end of June and leaving Apple. I still get, I don't want to talk about that. Also, since I will be retired, I would love to do a podcast sometimes as a fill-in host or just a guest if you might be interested. And always. You're always welcome. Just let us know like a week or two in advance of when you're going to be available so that we can kind of tailor it around whatever it is that you want to talk about. But you're a very interesting person, and we would love to get your perspective on really anything, because people are probably sick to death of what our perspective is, certainly of mine. It's like, yeah, that guy, he's got issues. He also said, thanks to both you and Gaz for making my drive to work much easier at times. It can be up to 90 minutes of crazy traffic. Listening to the two of you makes that drive go much faster. But don't blame us. If you're driving too fast, that's on you. He said
that's why he gets there quicker. Oh, I gotta get there so I don't have to listen to this crap.
I have got to get there before they finish this show. He did donate again to the Ukraine. Thank you, Owen. And he said he will buy me a coffee now that he's thinking about it. And he did. My goodness, yes, he did. And thank you for that as well, Owen. Hope you and the family are all well otherwise, and that things are all good, Owen. Thank you, Owen. Really, really appreciate the feedback. I don't know if I mentioned this last week. I also got an email from Chris Trush.
You mentioned it because I think you mentioned it because you couldn't pronounce the name correctly.
Did I say what it was he said? Do you remember?
I can't remember off the top of my head. No.
Okay, well, I'll just say it real quick. He says, happy to see you back in the saddle and podcasting again and in good spirits too, which is amazing.
Yes.
But also understandable. When people are relieved of pain, they are generally happier. Yeah, I go along with that.
Yeah,
no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that your eye couldn't be saved. Well, it's going to grow back. It's going to grow back, Tris.
Yeah. They're not listening to you, are they?
Any day now.
Now.
But glad that you are tumor-free. Wishing you all the best for further recovery and adjustment process. 3D movies are overrated anyway. Yeah. But you know what isn't overrated is the 3D rides. And that is something I'm really going to miss. I sometimes go with my son Peter down to Universal Studios down in Orlando, Florida, and they have a 3D Spider-Man ride. And that is now completely ruined for me. However, in the grand scheme of things, I guess that's like 4 minutes of my life that I can just do without. I don't even know where I was going with that. So anyway, thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris, for writing in and for everything that you do and everything that you've done in the past for the show. And speaking of which, Gaz,
what
if people wanted to donate to help support the insanity that is the MyMac.com podcast, like Owen and like Chris, they can go to my Patreon, which is patreon.com. And I got to wave my arm like this. Patreon.com. And if you don't watch the video, you won't see me wave my arm like that. Patreon.com/Macparrot. You can also buy me a coffee at ko-fi.com/MacParrot. You can also pay a pal at paypal.me/MacParrot. Now, guys, if people wanted to get a hold of you,
me,
and say, how can I write to one of you or either one of you and have Guy turn it into a 30-minute bit, how would they do so?
Oh, yeah, it is about 30 minutes, isn't it? Ever so easy, Guy. Ever so easy. Send an email to gazjz@mymac.com or on the Twitters, twitter.com/gazmaz, GAZ. I'm also Gazmaz on Counter Social and Mastodon. On Mastodon, it's gazmaz@c.im. You can also contact Guy and myself on the Twitters, Guy and Gaz on the Twitters, twitter.com/GYANDGA. Wait for it. Z. You can also send an email to feedback@mymac.com. FWDBK@mymac. It goes to a very special person.
Tell me.
It goes to.
Yes, it does. I haven't played that in a while.
Now. Guy.
You remember Guy?
I remember Guy. I like this one the best.
Guy's the one.
Just the one.
Just the one.
His name was Guy. No fooling.
Oh, thank you.
If you want
an email from Guy,
how would they damn well do it, Guy?
All you've got to do is open the email client of your choice and send an email to guy@mymac.com or podcast@vertshark.com. And I have got some new stuff up at vertshark.com. That website is up and running again. Now, I am also Macparrot over on the Twitters as well as VertShark. And you can go if you want to find me. It's stuck. The parrot is stuck. If you wanted to find me over at Counter Social or Mastodon, just look up Macparrot. And somebody gave me hell on one of the other podcasts that I'm occasionally on. They're like, well, what instance are you on? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know my instance. See, this is why something like Mastodon isn't going to take off like Twitter. It's like if I have to explain to someone what's my instance, it's like just look up Macparrot, and if you can't find me, then look someplace else because I'm like all over the place. We have a Skype telephone number.
Guy, you're always all over the place.
I am. Even when recording this show, because
3 days later.
Yeah, exactly. 3 days later. If you wanted to call like Greg, NC Greg, and some of the other people, but mostly NC Greg, because he is awesome, you can call us on our Skype number, which is 1 or +1 outside of the United States, 703-436-9501. That number again is 1 or +1 outside the United States, 703-436-9501. Or if a 1 or +1 is just too much to ask, go right to the Skype application and dial 703-436-9501. But we also have another number, don't we, Gaz?
We do. It's 703-828-4677, which is our Google Voice. I'll give you just that one more time. 703-828-4677.
Yeah, is there like a 7 on like the dial on your phone? There should be. If there isn't, like a 7 with an exclamation mark.
I'm looking at my phone. It says 7.
I guess it's all the the infraction that you put on your syllables.
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 You
I
say
would like to say,
syllables, I say syllables.
syllables. Let's call the whole thing off. I would like to tell all of you, thank you so very, very much for joining us today on the MyMac.com podcast. It is greatly appreciated. And if you do watch the video, you will see the completely fashionable purple eye patch that I received from the Mac Mommy. Thank you, Mac Mommy. And that's worth it right there to see a purple eye patch. But you'll get to see all the other stuff with like me waving my hands around. It's an action-packed hour-plus show that you can watch. Over there on the tubes of you. And Gaz, I would like to say that I think that we are good enough and that we're smart enough.
Yep.
And that even though you couldn't show me Wilf, I believe that he exists.
Yeah, I will be. There's a very special reason why I need to show you, and you'll...
Okay. That may come up in the after show, which you'll only get at mymac.com. Doggone it, woof, woof, Wilf, woof. Wilf, woof.
Woof.
Woof. People like us.
I saw a baguette being born in the zoo the other day. The zookeeper said it was bred in captivity. My Mac podcast will be Guy and Gaz.
And...
So you can all go home and there's nothing to worry about. Get out of here now. Go on. Go on home and go home.